Thanksgiving. A Republican congresswoman is now straight up implying that one of her Democratic colleagues could be a suicide bomber, and comments that do seem beyond the pale.
I was getting into an elevator with one of my staffers, and he and I were leaving the Capitol. We're going back to my office, and we get in the elevator, and I see a Capitol police officer running hurriedly to the elevator. I see fret all over his face. I look to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar. Oops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine. So we only had one floor to go, and I was like, do I say it or not? I looked over, and I said, oh, look, the Jihad Squad decided to show up for work today.
In response, Omar ripped her colleague over those anti-Muslim remarks and tweeted, "Fact, this buffoon looks down when she sees me at the Capitol. This whole story is made up. Sad that she thinks bigotry is getting her clout." Joining us now on this is Ahmed Mitchell, the Deputy Director of the Council on American Islamic Relations. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I want to get your reaction to seeing those comments from Congresswoman Lauren Boebert.
Well, look, as a Muslim in America, I've heard a lot. That was pretty disgusting. You got to remember, Lauren Boebert is not some comedian at a club. She is a sitting member of Congress speaking to her constituents, and some of her constituents are Muslim. And so to make this disgusting joke, to misuse an Islamic term, it is beyond the pale. I will say the more disturbing thing is that the audience applauded and laughed, and that Republican leaders did not condemn this yet. This sort of bigotry is unacceptable in general, but especially because it's directed at her congressional colleague. She is claiming she said this to Ilhan Omar, which would be workplace harassment in any other environment. So it's just unacceptable in so many ways. And I hope that leaders of Congress on both sides of the aisle say this is unacceptable.
But do you really expect Kevin McCarthy, who, of course, is the Republican leader in the House, to say anything about this based on how he's handled past Republican remarks?
Sadly, no. If Paul Gosar can get away with a video depicting himself killing AOC, if Marjorie Taylor Greene is promised to get her committees back if Republicans take the House, I don't expect Leader McCarthy to do the right thing. Sadly, anti-Muslim bigotry is still acceptable in so many parts of our country, and that's unacceptable. The Republican Party used to be a party that welcomed Muslim voters, and now that's not the case. And it's a tragedy. We should have a country in which you can disagree about policy without hating a person, without hating a religion. And if I can add just one thing, the other offensive thing she did was to use this phrase, Jihad Squad. It is beyond time that politicians stop misusing sacred Islamic terms. Jihad means any struggle taken up for the sake of God to do good. Praying 5 times a day, fasting Ramadan, giving in charity, standing up against injustice. So the congresswoman really needs to keep our words out of her mouth until she knows what she's talking about.
And this is a situation where if someone made that comment at a private company in an elevator with their colleague, a comment like that she claims that she made, that we should note, Ilhan Omar says this did not happen, you would likely be fired. And so you see this. Are you worried about the broader implications, though? Because you're right. She's not a stand-up comedian. She is a sitting member of Congress who is telling this as a joke on a video that, of course, is now being widely spread. And you're right. You did see people in the room laugh at that. So are you worried about the broader implications of a comment like that?
Absolutely. It normalizes anti-Muslim bigotry. And I would also note that Ilhan Omar is a very strong woman, a very strong leader. She deals with death threats all the time, but that's not something she should have to deal with. And this sort of rhetoric contributes to the threats against her, and it contributes to the exclusion of Muslims from our country. American Muslims are part and parcel of this country. Black Muslim slaves helped to build this country, and we should not be the target of a disgusting joke by any member of Congress. And so this normalizes anti-Muslim bigotry, which is a danger to our country and a danger to everyone's rights.
Lawmakers will be back in Washington this week, so I imagine Kevin McCarthy is going to get a lot of questions about those comments. Ahmed Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us this morning on this.
Thank you.